Hail Biafra! This is Biafra Liberation Army Network coming to you again. Please do subscribe, like, share, and comment. Video of what the pig in the creek, blah, 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 blah. What he said, how he apologized, and how he wants to reconnect to his origin. Biafrans, is this possible? Can this be real? A sabo is always a sabo, but all the community ejugo one onu na nke ikpeazụ a. Onu ya ejugo. Tinubu abandoned him and his people are confused. All the while he was doing what he was doing, he was actually doing it for his people. But because they supported evil, they did not speak out. Now they don't know where they are standing. Ha blozi anu elu, ha blozi anu ala. That is how confusion sets in. A people without history or without origin, they are floating. And that's what the Fulanis want us to be. Please let's listen to Asria Dokuko from beginning to the end, and you will confirm that this guy is in trouble. Let's hear.
Today, we are going to discuss Calabar history. And one of the historical area we're going to talk about is trade with the outside world. Trade with the outside world. When the Portuguese left Europe to look for a new route to India because of the Muslims of the Ottoman occupying and closing down Stanley Territory. Closing down the Silk Route. Spices were not getting into Europe. And after the defeat of the Muslim kingdoms in Andalusia, now Spain, Portugal, and southern France, Queen Isabella decided that there was a need for them to bypass Europe, bypass the European mainland and go through to India, to China, to buy spices, silk, and other things. But the Ottomans, now Turkey, were standing as a barrier. They were standing as a barrier between them and the Europeans and the Indians and Asia. They cannot go to Asia. So they decided to discover a new route. So they set out coming to Africa. And the first point of stop was at Fuchi. And Fuchi means in Spanish, first town. which is present-day Ifoko, at the mouth of the new Calabar River, Calabar Toro. They landed there, and from there they proceeded the same year to discover. They went to Cape of Good Hope, where we have what is called Cape Town, and they turned around. When they reached there, they realized that they can actually turn around and leave the Atlantic Ocean and go into the Indian Ocean and proceed. And they now call the place Cape of Good Hope, where Cape Town is now. So from the facts available to us, the first place where Europeans stopped when they left Europe to Africa was at Fuchi, first town. The first town they stopped at. And that was around 1412 or thereabout. So for Kalabari people, and in the books, which I will show you by next week, they clearly stated the type of things they exchanged with the things they brought. There was so much wine at Truche. So when the Dutch came, they called the place Wine Drop because of the abundance of palm trees and the people craft of making palm wine. So they said they changed elephant teeth and several other things they changed and they left. But more comprehensive records have come down to us. More comprehensive records have come down to us from European explorers and adventurers. More comprehensive records have come to us. And we are going to look at these records. And we are going to read a few for us. In the Esperado de Satu Oribits, we have the following description. It says, Yud it gives a very accurate description of Rio de Ri, Estri, that's New Calabar River. Describe the two passages across the bay and how to use the east one to make a safe anchorage. It described a very large village of some 2,000 inhabitants engaged in making salt near the anchorage, and says that the people of this river are called Jos, Ijo. They are warlike cannibals, rarely at peace. I'm not reading what is in my mind. I'm reading reports of Europeans who came in the book.
So my people, that is the end of the video right there. This man may be speaking the mind of the government without your knowledge. I think that this statement should be taken serious. It should not be underrated or taken for granted. I think that this is the plan of the federal government of Nigeria. Something has to be done and done very quickly. The Southeast governors, like the brother to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, have said, they carry wage into this matter for proper and very efficient constructive dialogue that we set things on the right path. If not, there may be problems, my people. So let me know what you think about it. And don't also forget to drop your comment and share this video, because a lot of people are not aware of this development. You know that the title of this particular video from Arise News TV is saying that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's brother calls for this, the intervention of the Southeast governors. So, some people may not know that such big information is inside this particular video. That is why you need to share it and let others hear what is going on and what is happening in Nigeria right now. This is a very serious case that needs very urgent attention. If these people want Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to drop his agitation for freedom, did they ask Igbo or Momoyele Sowore to do the same? Or when it comes to Igbo people, the game is always different. That is what Nigeria is telling us. Whenever it concerns Igbo people, they begin to change the matter. Sunday Igbo did not drop his agitation before he was released. Momoyele Sowore did not denounce revolution now before he was released. And the charges are all the same, treasonable felony against all of them. So why is this man still in detention? That is a very big question that needs an answer. So Igbos, over to you. Let us know your opinion on this matter and what you have to say. Please share this video and make it go viral. It is quite unfortunate that things has gone this bad in Nigeria. I'll see you people on the next one. Thank you as you share. God bless you.
The traditional home of Tombia, which became the cinema of history. It is not so likely to have been the village occupied by Abalama, whom the Bonny migrants drove away. At the site which Bonny still referred to as Abalama Bay is further inland and far away from the anchorage. Esmeralda shows that slave trade was already well established. The description also implies that it was communities other than the coastal village which were engaged in the trade. They come from up the river and sell to the natives of the village. This could refer to either Calabari, either at the Oboamafo or Elem Calabari side, as both sides would be from up the river. It could also refer to some people of Bonny, but it might certainly well refer to Crickans who were the traditional supplier of yam and similar food crops, so to the Bonny people, or to the Andonis who provided them with livestock. Rio de San Domingo is usually called today the Andoni River, while the same beyond it is the estuary immediately south of Opobo, which Walton later referred to as Comtoro. Nobody has yet identified the two small rivers which have no trade and are therefore nameless. And it is at this point that Esmeralda description of the coast sees it. It passes on now. This was around 1612 that this description was given. We continue to look at the description of these rivers. Now, the development of Kalabari's slave trade is associated with Eweredaba and that of Bonny with King Asimini. So the person who brought slave trade to the Kalabari area is Eweredaba, Black Duke. So we're going to look at why King Asimini is accredited with starting the slave trade. Now, at that time, Kalabari dominated the trade. At that time, Kalabari dominated the slave trade. That is found in Jones, when you go to Jones. At the time of Eweredaba, Kalabari was the dominant slave merchant. Kalabari was the dominant slave port. And Kalabari were trading from Bekinkri, white man land. Kalabaris were trading from Bekinkri, white man land. Now, in 1678 and 1682, John Barbot made two voyages. John Barbot made two voyages to the New Calabar River. And Barbot's report, Barbot said he stayed within New Calabar and he gave a very elaborate description of what New Calabar looks like. He gave a very comprehensive description of what New Calabar looks like. John Barbot. He gave a very good description. Then his brother, this is what he said. New Calabar, this is what he said about New Calabar. Civilized people. And we get in their proper season. All sorts of eatable, yam, banana, corn, etc. were available. And his brother, the brother of John Barbot, came in 1699. The brother of John Barbot came in 1699. Sorry, the network is getting crazy. James Barbot said he stayed in the house of the king at New Calabar, Ramapri. That's where he stayed. And he was there at the end of July of 1699. Calabar people were put here on the year. He was at the house of the king, King Robert, at the end of July, in the height of the rain. And he described the time as being seated in a marshy island, often overflown by the river, the water running even between the houses, whereof there are about 300 in a disorderly heap. The king is a pretty, the king's house is pretty high and airy, which was some comfort to me during the time I stayed there. He found King Robert a good civil man, about 30 years. Their common food was yam, boiled with fish and palm oil, and every evening they clubbed together at one other houses by turn, providing 2 or 3 jars of palm wine, each of them containing 12 or 15 gallons, to make merry. Each person Man and woman bring their own stool to sit on. They sit around and drink to one another out of us horns, well polished, which hold a quart or more, singing and roaring all the while till the liquor is out. James Bradford was also struck by their religious devotion. Every house is full of idols, as well as the street of the town. They call them juju, being in the nature of tutelar gods. Many of them are dry heads of beasts. Others are made by the blanks of clay and painted, which they worship and make their offering to. Before the king goes aboard the ship newly come in, he repairs to his idol house with drums, beating, and trumpets, sounding all his attendants barefooted. There he makes abundance of bow to those puppets, begging them to make his ways prosperous, and then sacrifices a hen, which is tied alive by one leg to the end of a long pole, and has a brass ring on the other leg, leaving the poor creature in that condition till it starves to death. Every time their small fleets of canoe goes up for slaves, and when they return, they blow their horns or trumpets for joy. The king never fails at both those times to pay his devotion to his idols for their good success and a short voyage. Now, James Bradford had described how the town of New Calabar looked like then. In 1699, he said the town was on a marshy ground. And this is not far from the folklores that have survived to us this day. Abotoru yu pakate impremina boboe aniserite owe miye nabana boboe minji seri owe bebile mate. Abotoru yu pakate impremina bobo minji serite owe miye nabana bobo minji serite owe bebile mate. Now, what are they doing? What is this song saying? That is exactly the description that James Bradford gave here. That water flows between the houses. That Tolsaramapri Ellen Calabari now is seated on a marshy ground. And the king house was higher and more airy. That's what why he stayed. And this is the song of the Kinesegabo, describing how Ellen Calabari was. As if it is verbatim. 1699. This song has survived today among the Kinesekabo. Obotoru Yupakate. Obotoru is the river from Dabara going down to Ellen Bekinkiri and Ellen Tombia to Fuche, the Obotoro. Now, Obotoro Yupakate in Bremina Bobo, Minjiserite, Owe Miye, Namona Bobo, Minjiseri, Seri Owe Bebile Matter. That masquerades, Sekabo who had appeared at Obotoro, which is from the New Calabar River in front of Ellen Calabar. You pass through the creek, the Ellen Calabar Creek. You will see Ellen Minama, then you reach Dabara. From Dabara, you go down. That is the Obotoro. That is the back river. Obotoro Yupakate. The masquerades. Ellen Calabar had overflown, have been taken over by flood, have been submerged by flood. So the masquerade in the Ekine house that they have left there. On the Ebe, Owebe, the water had overflown, it has flooded the community, and now the masquerade had been carried to Obotoro. Obotoro, you pakate, in Bremina Bobo, my brother come, Minjiserite, the flood had caused havoc. Owe miye, Nabo Nabobo, Minjiserite, Owebe Bilemate. You see, a lot of us, we cannot bring the connection, the nexus. We give it history. We just think history is fairy tale by moonlight. No. History is an empirical subject. It must be reasonable, and there must be connection, there must be link. Once the links are broken, that means that history is not true. It's a fabrication, it's a distortion, it's an embellishment. Look at how what James Bible described in 1699 and the Song of the Sekabo. Look at how they came together. Look at the nexus. Look at the connection, unbreakable connection. Describing the same scenario, describing the same happening that was happening in 1699 when James Bible was at Taurus Ramapri, Elem Calabar. Obotoru Yupakate, Imbre Minabobo, and Serite. Owe miye nabo boy minji seri owe bile mate. It solves a lot of problems. People are making claims, frivolous claims today. But like I said, I am the correction officer of Calabar history. I'm going to correct people. When people lie, we are going to expose their lies. When people embellish, we are going to remove the whitewashed paint. I'm going to remove the whitewashed paint. I will remove it. And you see the ugliness and the beauty. If it is ugliness or it is beauty. Now, Calabari people, the port of Bonny and the port of Calabari were the greatest slave port in this part of in the whole of Africa. These two ports were the greatest slave ports. Because the greatest number of slaves right from the Congo down to Senegal, the greatest number of slaves left the port of Bonny and the port of New Calabar. And who was a pioneer person who started this slave trade? We are told that it is Eweredaba Black Dokuko. Eweredaba started it, and King Asimini of Grand Bonny Okoloba took from him. So they both traded, bringing slaves from Igbo land and selling, or from Ibibio land and selling. There is no report of selling slaves of Apua people, other Ijaw people, except free bonds who commit adultery, who commit murder, who steals, who committed witchcraft. So when somebody says, hey boy, all this, no, I mean, yes, the name I answered today, the stool on which I sit today, which was created as one of the first working houses to be created, in fact, among the first 5 to be created in Calabar land. Ediabali became the richest man of his time. He's an Igbo man, 100%. And he never denied being an Igbo man. So I, his worthy descendant, will not deny. I have my disagreement with Igbo, but I cannot. So also is bricks. So also is asphalt. Young bricks, asphalt. Ediabali, my father, Wananako. These are all Igbo men.